We will now take a look at reports in CCP. Click here on Reports. This page lists all available reports in your system. We will be concentrating on a few key reports in this course. First, we will look at the e-commerce sales report. Here, we can set the date range we want to run the report for here. Alternatively, there is a quick select date option here. Here, we can select between sales and returns, sales only, and returns only. There is a full report for returns, which we will look at shortly. Here, we can select to run the report for individual items or multi-pack items. We can filter by sales channel here, if we want to run the report for one specific channel. We can search for a customer here, if we want to run the report against a specific customer. We can filter by supplier here. We can select a season here, if seasons are being used. If sales agents have been created, we can select an agent to run the report against here. We can also filter by option and option value here. Now click View Report. This then shows the sales per channel. First, showing the channel name. Then, the number of items sold in the period selected. The net total of those items. The gross total of those items. Then the costs are shown. These are based on the cost prices and extra costs which have been set against the products. The profit is then the remaining net amount after the costs have been removed. This is then shown here as a percentage. Clicking More then breaks these sales down by category of the products in CCP. Clicking More on the category then gives you details of the sales for that category. Here we can see the customer name and country, the invoice number and the date the order was placed. Then we have the net and gross price and net and gross postage values. If we hover over the Export Report button, we can export this report by products by clicking Item Level or by orders by clicking Order Level. We will select Item Level. The report will now download. Once completed, click the Download button to download the report. We will now take a look at the rate of sales and stock levels report here. This report shows the volumes for a given period against the remaining stock level to give an estimation of how much cover you have for those products. Again, we can select the date range here or quick select a date range here. We can choose the order of the report here. This defaults to by cover, but you can change this here to any of these options. We can then select whether to show the selected order ascending or descending. We can filter by category here. We can choose to only show items with sales or include items with no sales here. We can select the sales channel here. Here we can filter to show non-FBA sales only, all sales, or FBA sales only. We can filter by supplier here. Here we can select whether to show all products, only end-of-line products, or exclude end-of-line products. And finally, we can select to view the report by product range or by variation here. Now click View Report. The products are then put in order and are numbered here. The product range name is then shown here, the SKU here, the number of sales within the given period shows here, the total value of those sales shows here. The number of weekly sales shows here. The number of unique customers who have bought the product shows here. The remaining stock level shows here. And then the estimated amount of cover is shown here. This is based on the number of weekly sales and your remaining stock level. We can see the sales information for any line by clicking here. We can also add the product to a purchase order by clicking here. You will need to have the suppliers and cost prices set against the products in order to do this. Add the amount of stock you need to order here. We can change the cost price here as well if needed. If there is already a purchase order open for this supplier, the product will be added to that purchase order. If there is not an open purchase order, a new one will be created. We can export this report as well by clicking here on Export Report. Then click Download Exports, and then click Download. We will now take a look at the returns report. Here. This is a fairly simple report. We can select a date range manually or by quick selecting here. Then click View Report. This then shows a list of all returns within the period selected. From left to right, we first have the order number. Clicking on this will take you to the order details page for that order. We then have the name of the product which has been returned. Clicking on this will take you to the product page for that product. Underneath that, we have the note which was added when creating the return. Then we have the SKU for the product, how many were returned, the date and time the return was created. Here we have the reason selected, and here we have the return reason selected and whether the return has been completed. Again, you can export this report by clicking here. It will warn you that you need to have pop-ups enabled in order for this to work. Click yes, and the report will download. This shows here because the report does not go into a download list as it does with other reports. This concludes this section. Please complete the tasks below before proceeding to the next course.